this is my mother we're speaking on. My family is having a hard time. It's not enough hours in a day to take care of someone who is this ill, and to know that you're facing something like this, or know that someone that you love is facing something like this, or just that anybody in this world is facing something like this, is just insane. I personally feel like this is the worst thing someone could possibly be diagnosed with. You know what? I don't understand this whole thing, but this is what we dealing with, y'all. And that's just the bottom line of it. This is the worst thing I have ever seen. What's up, y'all, and welcome back to my channel. It has been a very long time since I have been on here or been able to record for you all, but y'all can obviously see by the title of this video that is why I haven't been on here in so long. The reason why I even wanted to record this video is because what my mother has been diagnosed with, you literally don't really hear anything about anybody's experience or what they have dealt with this particular disease. Prior to her getting diagnosed, we had no idea what this really truly even was. We hadn't had anybody, family, friends, or whatever that had it. Once she got diagnosed, that's when we started to find out and figure out more and more the disease itself. Also, people that we don't really know personally, but like people we know personally know someone who has it or had it or whatever the case may be. So it just started coming out the woodworks. So I'm like, why don't people talk about it? You know what I'm saying? You don't really hear or see that many stories about this or whatever. And I've been wanting to speak on this for some months now, but of course, due to privacy and out of respect for my mother, I didn't speak on it at all. So of course, I did not want to record this video or talk about anything without my mother's blessing. And at this point, I feel like her and I both have reached a point of acceptance with this, as much as you can accept, you feel me? Because of course, this is a loved one who is terminally ill. Of course, I'm going to be sharing from our experience. Everybody's experience is different. My mother has been diagnosed in December 2021 with ALS. The symptoms started in 2021, and it started in her hand. First, it started when she realized she was starting to drop her purse just randomly. She just was realizing that her hand, for some reason, was getting weak. Her hand became weak, and then all of a sudden it became paralyzed. Her right hand, it started progressing into her right forearm. And then her hand and forearm became paralyzed within a few months. And then it continued up her entire right arm, and her whole right arm at one point was paralyzed. So at that point, of course, she's having to use her left arm, her left hand, to do any and everything that she needed to do for herself. Then it started to progress, and she started feeling it coming to her left arm and then working its way down into the left hand. But when it was in her right hand, once her hand was completely paralyzed and her forearm and all of that kind of stuff started to happen, she started going to different doctors. Because at first I'm like, maybe my mom has a severe case of carpal tunnel that she just never gotten checked out or whatever case may be, and it just became terrible. She started going to a million different doctors, a million different specialists, doing all these tests that's hurting her, tests that are uncomfortable, painful, whatever the case may be, and nobody had no real answers. She's getting exhausted and tired and frustrated and sad, or whatever the case may be, from all of these appointments. She's even traveling to different specialists and doctors or whatever. So finally, in December of 2021, she ended up traveling to the Mayo Clinic, and that's when she got the initial diagnosis of ALS. Oh Lord have mercy, that phone call. At the time, I'm just like, hold on. I had to gather myself for a minute. First off, I didn't want her to see me crying and upset and whatever case would be and distraught, because she already was. I just had to be strong for her in that moment. But then I had to start thinking. I said, Mom, hold on a minute. I said, all these different doctors have been testing you and all this kind of stuff, and you go to this one doctor, he ain't ran not one test on you, nothing, and all of a sudden you have this. So I was like, we're not gonna just take his word for face value for right now. I was like, let's just keep going and get a second opinion and all this kind of stuff, whatever it may be. Because at the time, it was known as, I don't even want to put that out there. You can Google it, because I just don't want to say stuff on my channel that could possibly give me cancer or whatever case may be. They call it a such and such disease. You'll figure it out. So we like, she's a African American woman, so how could this even be? She got that diagnosis, and at that point, you know, it started trickling into her left arm and all that kind of stuff. At some point in 2022, both of her arms were completely paralyzed. Then she started to tell me that her legs, her right leg first, started to get weaker and all that kind of stuff. And then she had this humongous fall in June, mid 2022, first fall. And people with this diagnosis normally experience falls. So she had this huge fall. Mind you, both of her arms and hands are paralyzed. So imagine falling and not being able to catch yourself, like falling forward and not being able to catch yourself. Do you feel me? Like, can you imagine that? So fell, kind of basically knocked her out, because she didn't remember what had happened, or she didn't even remember falling and all of that. She just remembered waking up, of course. She ended up in the ER that night, and her whole right side and eye and all of this, of course, when he fell flat on her face. So she had a huge burn mark here, and her eye and all that kind of stuff was all bruised up, whatever case may be. So a few times more after that big fall, she had a few more falls. So of course, at this point, we're realizing that her legs are becoming weak. It's the right one first, and then the left one started. But now we are at a point to where today, almost completely paralyzed from head to toe. When people think of ALS patients or whatever case may be, not only are you paralyzed, because ALS, your nervous system is under attack. So literally it eats away at your muscles. Like, it eats away at your muscles till you cannot move anymore. And my mother says she feels her muscles depleting, and she is constantly in pain all day, every day. And then before she was going paralyzed, she would have these twitches in her legs and whatever the case may be, because that's literally her nerves and muscles were twitching because the whole thing was under attack. So she would just feel that all day, every day. Like, she's constantly uncomfortable, constantly in pain. You don't have muscles, so of course, like, at one point everything becomes super heavy to you. Your body becomes heavy, and of course you lose a lot of weight and all this kind of stuff. Right now she still has a little bit of neck movement, and also she is having to use assistance breathing because her diaphragm, of course, that's a humongous muscle to continue, like, to help you breathe and whatever else. That muscle, of course, is as weak as it could possibly be. So her breathing is an issue for her, obviously. She is having a lot of difficulty swallowing. My mother has almost lost her voice completely. Like, her voice is almost completely gone, or her ability to talk or speak or whatever the case may be. She does not sound like how she used to sound when she's talking. She's not talking like this. A lot more difficult to understand what she is saying. As I told y'all, she's in constant pain 24/7. She doesn't sleep well. She can barely eat. And of course, they have options to where you can get a feeding tube and all that kind of stuff. My mother right now has not made that decision yet. Here are some more symptoms listed here. Also, I forgot to mention in the video that due to my mom's stomach muscles being weakened by the disease, she also has trouble coughing. She doesn't really have a cough anymore. If she gets choked up on something, or if she needs to cough, we have to use her cough assist machine, because of course she's struggling to get out whatever it is she needs to get out. So at this point, her food has to be pureed into a liquid, because of course if she gets choked up on something, she's going to struggle, and we're going to struggle to help her get it out. Also, she has trouble using the restroom or having bowel movements without, needing to take some medicine to make it more softer, and basically cannot do or perform any daily activities like a normal person could. There's literally nothing we can do to get her or keep her comfortable. When I say absolutely nothing, I mean absolutely nothing. My mother is constantly, what she would call it, is suffering every day. all day. That is what we have been dealing with mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually. It has just been chaotic. This is my mother we're speaking on. You feel me? My family is having a hard time. It's not enough hours in a day to take care of someone who is this ill. And to know that you're facing something like this, or know that someone that you love is facing something like this, or just that anybody in this world is facing something like this, is just insane. I personally feel like this is the worst thing someone could possibly be diagnosed with, because not only are you diagnosed with this terminal illness, you literally feel your body depleting and dying from day one until. Everybody's case is different. The symptoms are the same. The end result is the same. However, what's different and what varies is where your symptoms start. Some people's automatically start in their throat, to where once they get to a point to where they can no longer swallow, it's a wrap. Some people's automatically start in their, chest and diaphragm, to where if they can no longer breathe, it's a wrap. You know what? I don't understand this whole thing, but this is what we dealing with, y'all. And that's just the bottom line of it. This is the worst thing I have ever seen. So literally, I don't have time to do anything extracurricular. If I'm not working, I'm over there. If I'm not over there, I'm working. And I don't sleep, because it's just round the clock. And I'll tell y'all, just keep tuning in, please, because there's more. I just want to give y'all that little tidbit. It's too much to talk about to put in one video. I'm going to continue to talk about this. You just have to continue to tune in to learn and know more about what's really going on. And until God has the final say so, this is what I'm going to be dealing with. I'm not getting on here. I don't need anybody's sympathy. I don't need none of that. However, what I do need, y'all to learn, y'all to take something from whatever I'm saying, whether you are dealing with something similar to this, the same thing. I need y'all to share. I never know who I can help, who I can reach, never know who can help me, who has resources, who can reach me, whatever the case may be. So share my channel, share this video, whatever you need to do. Make sure you subscribe so you can get the latest and the greatest and continue to keep up with what's going on. It don't cost you anything to do that. It don't cost you anything to do anything on this channel. Hit the thumbs up button so my algorithm can get up, so we can get it out more to more people. And I won't be showing my mother, because I don't think she would want to be on camera like that. It is just mind-blowing. I'm like, this was just a year ago. Not even a whole year ago. This is how you looked. And now, like, how does that work? Subscribe, hit the like button. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please share with any and everybody that you possibly can share with. And until next time.